Hey, what's up, you guys? It's IAmTheLionRider, and I'm back! And we're doing Capron again, so I am back doing Capron with my lovely co-host, as always, Leaf Productions.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys?
And today, we are doing the big habitat, probably the biggest habitat in the zoo. By biggest habitat, I mean still too small by AZA standards, but that is the lion habitat. So...
Oh, man.
Obviously, you know, it made the most sense that I am doing the lion habitat, of course. I am IAmTheLionRider. And you may notice that, why is the screen resolution messed up? And that's my fault. So I decided to record the entire build, apparently, just with part of the screen cut off. So, unfortunately, you're gonna have to enjoy the sidebars. But luckily, I at least had it recorded to some extent. So... today we are going to be doing Ramses and Nyala's habitat. So, yeah, so this actually was formerly connected to the existing sloth bear habitat. Gotta love Vicky. You did such a good job with Vicky's habitat.
Thank
Though,
you.
I will admit, you made my job a lot harder than it needed to be, Leaf. So, the issue with this habitat, right, is because it's connected to Vicky's habitat, and it was originally all supposed to be one habitat, I had to kind of use a lot of the same things that you made, which isn't an issue. Like, you'd think, like, oh, okay, you're able to reuse stuff. But the issue is, you did a lot of faux rock work and bamboo and, like, foliage and stuff, and threw it on my side of the habitat. So I had to, like, kind of figure out a way to cover it up. So, the lion habitat, I think, I had to basically modify the entire surrounding area to get the lion habitat to be an appropriate size and, like, in an appropriate location and stuff, right?
I'm so sorry.
So, even though I just had to do the lion habitat, I ended up kind of reworking the entire bower goat / sloth bear / you know, street area to make everything make sense size-wise, just to get this working. So, the other thing, of course, is that you'll see me struggling with the majority of this video. So, the lion habitat is built on a bed of concrete. So, the entire habitat is basically a layer of concrete on a hill, and then this kind of technically extends into Vicky's habitat, but with Vicky they actually added like some sand and stuff, so you don't really notice it as much. Because once upon a time, both of their habitats was the polar bear habitat. So this was like a big, again, I love using the word big because it's like big relative to the zoo, but by most metrics ridiculously small kind of setup. And so with the lion habitat, they kind of just kept the concrete as is. And so the only like grass in the habitat is technically like the little trim of grass along the side. Now, because of this, it was really difficult to get the, like, you know, I use plaster in favor of concrete because I just like the pieces a little bit more.
It looks so much better anyways.
But as you can see, like, making a rounded corner is like out of square pieces is very, very difficult. And so it was just a lot of fidgeting with the gizmo and stuff to get like smooth curves and stuff. In the end, I actually did it, but it took me a very, very long time to get everything like accommodated and stuff.
I really gotta give you props to that because I would have given up.
Yeah, like,
that seems so tedious to do, but from what I saw last night when you were showing me like the whole build, it turned out really freaking good in the end. So props to you on that.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I was really proud of it. I remember I ended up posting this on like a bunch of places, and unfortunately it's the only shame of like realistic zoo builds and like compared to other stuff in the Planet Zoo community, you share it, and even if it's like a one-to-one recreation, it looks perfect, it looks exactly like how it does in real life. People just look at it and they're like, yeah, that's nice. What kind of habitat is this? Because like, I will say this, you know, obviously we're friends with I'm friends with like Rob and Lino and stuff, like the habitat designers for Capron. I think everyone can pretty much acknowledge the fact, though, that the lion habitat at Capron it's very jarring. It's very in your face and like, what am I looking at? Because they decided to go with I don't really hate the faux rockwork they chose, to be honest. Like, I think the rocks actually look fine, but they chose
really
this like
itself,
neon orangish red color, which makes it look completely like when people talk about a very immersive or realistic habitat or something that's like, you know, meant to replicate the realistic, you know, environment of where the animal lives. Capron does the exact opposite. Like, it's from the furthest thing from, you know, realism as possible when it comes to specifically the lions. They are, they don't have, like, a mural or anything. Even though they painted the brick, they don't have a mural to, like, even kind of, like, indicate, like, oh, look, it's Africa. It's just a green wall. And then the majority of the habitat is this, like, kind of off grayish white concrete. There's some wood chip mulch as their quote-unquote substrate, and then these garish red rocks. And again, it's annoying because it's what the habitat looks like, but obviously anyone who isn't in the know would just look at it and be like, this isn't a lion habitat. It was funny when I was telling my friends or whatever, like what I was building. They didn't realize that this was the lion habitat. Like, they thought, like, we always talk, like, you know, about Capron, and we're like, oh yeah, like, you know, this habitat's great, this one's great, whatever. And then I was doing this, and like, so what's this for? Is this for, like, the fennec fox or whatever? And I'm like, no, this is their lion habitat. And it was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And, like, I understand the criticism, because it's just, like, obviously, by modern standards for lion habitats, it is very outdated, obviously. Like,
it really is, yeah. But aren't they, like... I'm sure in the future they gotta be retrofitting it. Sorry about that microphone still on,
yeah.
But they gotta be retrofitting it soon enough.
Well, so, like I said, I talked to some of the keepers, and, like, the main argument is... both they lost a lion not too long ago, so about, I want to say, like a year and a half before we started doing Capron is when they lost their third lion. And so now it's just the male Ramses and the female Nyala, and they are, you know, they've kind of been in this habitat their whole lives and stuff, so like they're I don't want to say elderly, but definitely up there. I think they're each roughly 15 years old. And if you know anything about lions in captivity don't really make it past 20.
So sad.
So they, like, I've talked to like a lot of the director and stuff like that, and it was like, yeah, like we're gonna miss them, but it's one of those situations where they're not going to be around for that much longer relative that it would be justifiable to totally retrofit their habitat and then, you know, one of them passes away, both of them pass away, that sort of thing. And that makes more sense. So it looks like for the foreseeable future, they're just going to keep the lion habitat the way it is until, you know, the two of them, you know, go on their merry way into the savannah in the sky, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, but like even at that, I know like even Emily and I talk about this sometimes, and like you can still tell the love that all the keepers at Capron have for their animals.
Oh, exactly.
And
like,
the amount
again,
of dedication and love they give for them. So it's, I don't know, like they might not have the best habitat, but the keepers make sure that they're kept for insanely well, and that's some of the dedication I love to see.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's never a case of that. Like, I've always seen they have a lot of enrichment always, and at the end of they're lions. So lions, by most big cat metrics in a zoo, they don't do much. They spend 20 hours a day sleeping. So they just hang out on the rocks, and I mean, when they're not on the rocks, they're roaring, and that's like one of their favorite pastimes is they will roar And a lion roar you can hear from, 5 miles away. And it shows, because at Capron, everyone will, we've mentioned this. Ramses will start roaring. Everyone from all over the zoo will rush to their habitat, and then they'll just fall back asleep. And that's, all they do. And it's just kind of the situation. So, I actually want to talk about the lion, specifically the male, Ramses. He's kind of the, I guess, the trophy animal. Oh, that's probably that's a...
Yeah, that's the wrong word.
That's a bad wording for a white lion. But he's their star attraction, and he is a white lion. So he is actually a purebred white lion. So most lions that you would find in captivity are basically inbred, or they're from unfortunate circumstances that make them technically not really true pure lions. They were just bred from an original group and then whatever. But Ramses actually comes directly from South Africa. So he's actually directly from one of the original white lion prides that were in South Africa. And so he looks a little different than what you might see from, I guess, most white lions that zoos advertise, and so he's more of an off blondish cream color almost, in his skin tone, and his mane is a lot more blonde than it is pure white, like you might see at a Siegfried and Roy-esque type place or something. So he is considered a pure white lion. And I believe he is the only one left in the United States. So,
that's wild.
And another fun fact about Ramses, he used to be the world's fattest lion, which is my favorite thing ever.
It kind of goes hand in hand with how Capron was able to get Ramses and the other in the pride. Because wasn't the whole thing with McDonald's and the whole sponsorship
it was
going hand in hand?
It was some kind of honestly, we might need Dill to correct us on this. It was some convoluted thing where one of Capron's old directors, I guess, was in contact with someone from South Africa and was given the opportunity to house white lions, and so that's when they got Ramses. And then from there, I guess he was overfed. And so he became morbidly obese by lion standards. And luckily, in modern day, he is a healthy lion. But because he was so fat, to this day, you can still see he has approximately 5 to 6 inches of just hanging skin below his stomach. Which I think is kind of cool, to be honest. Because now he is a healthy weight. But he just has it's no different than if a human lost a lot of weight. You just get that excess skin. And so yeah, he has when he stands up, just all of this really saggy skin hanging down from his stomach, which I don't know, it kind of gives him some character. And I love him. Again, he is definitely a favorite of mine personally. So then I guess we can kind of talk about his partner, Nyala. So I have talked to the keepers. They said that back in the day they considered the idea of breeding them and stuff. In modern day though, it doesn't make much, because again, now they're kind of getting of age where it's it doesn't really make much sense. But hypothetically, they could, I suppose. But Nyala she is a normal African lion. So she is just a traditional brownish yellow color African lion. But what's funny is, to some extent, she kind of is a bit more dominant than Ramses that I found. So usually when people hear roaring, it's actually her. It's actually usually her. So you'll hear Ramses will roar, but you'll hear it because he's 10 times louder. But the majority of the time when you hear the lions roaring, it's usually her because she's a bit more active. I think she's either a little bit younger by a year or a little bit older. I'm sure. Yeah. They're about a year apart, is what I've been told and stuff. But they definitely she's the one that is usually the more active one and stuff. Which, I mean, that makes more sense because even if you look at modern or lions in the wild, the females are usually more active. The males can usually just kind of chill. Like they don't really, they protect the pride, and that's what they do. They get to just sleep the majority of the day.
Also, before we get too far, I do want to mention the fact that we are using modded props now. Nick finally broke me down. So a lot of the stuff that you see in here, you see like the Kopi rocks. I see what you use for the hot wire on the top. Those are the null signs from the Outback pack.
Yep.
Absolutely baller move with that. We got to get that out to the people soon.
Yeah, so that was like a thing was I was telling, because the thing that I'm placing down right now is like a custom wood chip mulch that I made, and I literally asked Leaf like right off the bat. I was like, okay, so I could use the normal mulch, but then I looked at the faux rock work that I would need for this, and I realized that a lot of the current faux rocks that we have in game aren't really thin enough to make the faux rocks for this habitat specifically. So I literally told Leaf, I'm like, so listen, can we use mods? Because I'd really appreciate it if we could use mods. It would make my job a lot easier and it'll look a lot better. And then he's like, okay, I guess so. And then what's funny is I'm like, great, I'll place down the Kopi rocks. And then I decided, cool. And I shut Planet Zoo that day, and I made an entire mod pack where I just started making the wood chip mulch and stuff, and you might see it in some of my other series now, like Ocean State and Cambridge and stuff. That was where, like, I immediately just started making a bunch of, like, other New England blueprint things and, like, workshop items, in addition to New England mods. And then from there, that has now spiraled into just me making a bunch of stuff from different parts of North America. But a big thing was Capron being the inspiration for why a North America pack is even in existence now. Because I wasn't planning on doing one until I was like, yeah, we could use wood chip mulch. Yeah, we could use some New England trees. Yeah, we could use this. And, like, that was just what happened. So right now, the North America pack officially only has pine needles and the wood chip mulch, but I have a bunch of other things that you might have seen in Capron, not Capron, in Ocean State that I've kind of used for getting other New England trees. Like, I have an elm tree mod in right now that currently just replaces all existing elm trees with some, I guess, higher foliage type things, but
it's so good. Now, the real question, are you going to call it the Frontier Pack or not?
Because I have toyed around with names and stuff. I was like, I could call it the Wilderness Pack, I could call it the Frontier Pack, I could call it the, like any number of things. I do like the idea that, like, we don't call them just the North America Pack or something, because staying in line with Outback and Safari, it was kind of indirect ways of mentioning, some of the other, continents without directly mentioning them. So I kind of like the idea of the Frontier Pack, but I'll see how people interpret it and stuff.
Oh, I love all the enrichment you're adding.
Okay, yeah, so I actually did do all the custom enrichment. So what I wanted to do originally was I wanted to use one of the feeders, because they basically have a tin can feeder, or I don't know if it's a feeder or just like general enrichment, like with a scent post or something in it, but it's hanging from this tree in the back, and I was trying to figure out what I could use for it, because it's a tin can. And then my buddy Forge actually said, oh, you can use the 3D full stop. It's really good for that. And so that actually worked out really well. It was just the right size that I was looking for. Because, again, like,
oh my gosh,
yeah, sometimes just getting those sizes and stuff are just really difficult, but that actually worked out really well. So I like that, and I could add, like, a little thing inside of it. Kind of looks like a paper towel roll, but I think it came out pretty good looking.
Ramses needs a good wipe every now and again.
And then past that, they have a tire in their enclosure, pretty standard stuff. So I really like this technique I did. So I placed down the plaster, but now that we have the Europe pack, I've been placing down mulch the same so it adds that little, like, concrete texture
Oh,
and
yeah.
it really works extremely well. And so I loved the idea. And so decals are probably the thing that I am the most proud of with this entire build. Like it looks really cool. And then once I realized, oh yeah, we have decals now, I was like, oh, I can add like the little chipped paint on the rocks, and I can add the little like, you know, grunge maps and stuff on the concrete walls and stuff like that. And I was able to just go wild with it, and I really, really like that. So that has been a really cool aspect that I've really liked with this build. And then, yeah, so it kind of looks like bird poop, I'm not going to lie. But
That's fine.
It kind of...
There's probably some bird poop in there.
I mean, yeah, at some point. We get a lot of seagulls around here, so, you know.
Yeah.
Seagulls, crows, sparrows, cardinals.
I do love, like, all the tiny things that you're throwing in here. It works so well for that.
Yeah, because, like, at the end of the day, it's a smaller habitat, so I wanted to make sure that it would be a thing that I could do, you know, pretty well. So, like, as an example, I used this moss to add a little bit of a lip. And, yeah, I think it worked out pretty good without, like, actually adding, like, any extra geometry. It just adds a little, like, insinuation, like there's a little bit of a lip that bridges between the mulch and the concrete. And I think it worked really, really well.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh.
But, yeah, we should be coming up on the end of this episode relatively soon. Again, I'm just adding kind of the finishing touches and stuff. I messed around with the idea. I don't know if this will be included in this particular video, but I messed around with the idea of maybe including hot wire around the rocks like they actually have. But ultimately, I kind of chose... I thought it was kind of unnecessary. It just seemed a bit weird. And then I just kind of did a few other things. So, yeah. So
I'm sure we could play around with it later down the line, too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm more than happy to go back and retrofit some older stuff now.
Yeah, there was some stuff I did off camera. Like, I fixed up a couple of, like, little grunge decals and stuff that you made using primitive pieces in Vicky's habitat.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I really like how this turned out. I added some drin grass because the bushes you used for Vicky's habitat that were supposed to be grass, like, I wanted to keep them consistent, but I wanted to make it a bit more apparent. I also added these from the exhibit pack, which I thought were really useful.
I haven't had the chance to use these yet, but the way that you're using them, oh my gosh, that's given me some major inspiration.
Just little pockets of foliage, not anything super special, but just little details like that. And
just
so
a taste.
I think that should be pretty good. I'm trying to think of like what I did left. Oh yeah, I added like a few little cracks.
Nice.
But yeah, so I guess the real question is, who's doing the next episode? Because my poll says Andy actually should.
Oh well, Andy, listen, we can send it over to him. We'll just need to fly him over here to Massachusetts so we can get a little bit more reference of what he's making. But I don't know, maybe I did a couple in a row. Why not you?
Okay, that works. Yeah. All right, so the next episode will be on my channel. So here you can see the final habitat in all of its glory. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you guys like Capron, definitely subscribe to Leaf as well. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.